What's up? It's been a hot minute, y'all.
It has been a while. If you were worried and you thought that the GIST crew had been destroyed by the ghost of Christmas past,
or COVID.
Yeah, we're still here. We're still
here.
Fighting.
We are. We are still living the dream every day. A lot of stuff has gone down, obviously, not just for us, but for the entire world in 2020. And so we'll give you guys a full update in a separate video. We're actually going to be working on that one soon. I'm really excited about it, just to share how our 2020 went, and we hope that it encourages you to share with us how your 2020 went. But today, that's not what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about macronutrients. I'm really excited to bring this to you. I feel like these are tiny little things that we just need to know as we continue through our fitness journey. It's something that you don't have to utilize, but it is a tool that you can have in your tool belt to utilize whenever you so please. So welcome to our video on macronutrients.
If you want to be amazing. Now that I know that I would, finding the paper for good, smoking up none but the good. Now that I should, God be the girl, low be the bar, high be the bush, time to inhale.
Alright, now if you're new to some of this fitness stuff, you might be feeling exactly like I was feeling the first time I heard the phrase macronutrients, and I was like, I'm not a scientist. I don't know what, is this what professional athletes do? I have no idea. Well, we're going to dispel all of that concern for you because it's not super complicated or advanced or crazy at all. It's just breaking up every single food you eat into 3 different parts, okay? You have protein, fats, and carbohydrates.
Protein. Let's start with protein. I think it's probably one of the underrated macronutrients, especially in women. I'm just gonna say it. I feel like girls don't eat a lot of protein.
Nobody eats enough
that's
protein.
true. If you are trying to intuitively eat enough protein, you're not gonna do it. But basically, the cool thing about protein, the reason why you want to prioritize it is because your body uses protein to repair and maintain tissue. So when you're in a deficit, when you're trying to lose weight, which you are, I'm assuming, want to lose fat, having a higher protein intake will actually help you maintain more lean tissue, more muscle mass. And it's also really good for your body. If you're going in there and you're working out 4, 5, 6 days a week, that protein is going to be utilized to help build muscle and to help repair any tissues as you're breaking them down. So
absolutely. And it's not that, you don't have to just be eating, baked chicken in a blender all day. I mean, it's not impossible to do, but we're definitely right when we're saying if you're new to this tracking calories thing and you're not tracking your macros yet, you probably are not eating enough protein. And that can really, that's what we want to do here, is dispel these myths. You might be training, you might be trying to do this stuff, and you're not seeing results, and you think, oh, it's just because I suck. But it's not. It could be as simple as you're not getting the right amount of protein that your body needs to, to send a signal to your body to build muscle.
Exactly. And I feel like if you're wondering, well, how much protein do I need? I'm going to go out there, and this is not a shameless plug. This is legitimately the truth. Hire a coach. Talk to a coach. And this is why. Your body is going to handle protein differently than anyone else. So you could have another person that is exactly your size, exactly your weight, and they are going to eat different protein than you're going to eat. Maybe your digestive system can't handle as much as their body can, or there are just so many other factors. Maybe you do more cardio or less cardio. Like, there are just a lot of factors. So if you want to find out, there's a base number. I eat a little bit over this, but I normally tell people if you can shoot for 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, you're probably going to do okay.
Exactly. You're going to cover all your bases. All right, we broke the ice with protein, but let's talk about the dangerous one now, guys.
The dreaded carbohydrate. Oh no!
Bread. It's going to make me fat, right? I can't eat cereal.
I can't eat oatmeal.
Here's the secret. There is nothing inherently bad about carbohydrates, which, stuff like breads, grains, vegetables are also your carbohydrates. There's nothing inherently evil or bad or fat-making about that, and the same is true for fat. It's just you have to learn to balance those macros, that you're not getting too much of both. They're both energy systems, and if you're overloading yourself with fat and carbohydrate, that's what can lead to weight gain. But
Exactly.
believe me, if there's one thing we want you to know is that if you like to eat bread, you can eat bread, and you can be in shape, and you can be healthy.
Carbs, it's your primary energy source for the body. It's the one that the body uses the best. Fat can be utilized as energy. Protein could even be utilized as energy. But fats and proteins, they just have so many other jobs that they're better at doing. So now that you kind of know what each macronutrient does, what they are, and that none of them are evil, let's talk very shortly about how you equate this into calories. A carbohydrate, 1 gram, is 4 calories. It is the same for protein. 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. Fat, 1 gram is 9 calories. And I think that's why most of the time people tend to lean towards either higher fat, lower carb, or higher carb, lower fat. You could theoretically split them directly down the middle. You could find your protein intake and then take the leftover calories and just 50-50 them, carbs and fat. I just feel like, for me, I love to eat. I definitely have a more difficult time overeating than undereating. So higher carbs work a lot better for me as well because it's a higher volume of food.
All right, so now using tracking your macros to find your maintenance caloric intake. And I'm not going to get super sciencey with this. I want to tell you like the practical way you can do it. And you've probably heard this theme echoed in some of our other videos, but the way it's worked for me personally is use a scale. You can't be afraid of the scale. You can't. The scale can't be a thing like I just don't want to know how much I weigh. I mean, it's just a number. If you're doing these things that we're trying to show you, and if you are dedicated to changing yourself and to living a healthy lifestyle, your weight is going to get to a point that you like it. So don't be afraid of the numbers. So the best way to find your maintenance calories, or let's say the amount you need to eat to stay the exact same weight, is weigh yourself. You could just do it just once a week. Weigh yourself once a week at the same time, before bed, in the morning, whenever you'd like to, but just make sure it's at the same time because your body weight fluctuates throughout the day, throughout the week. So if you're weighing at random times, it can be kind of hard to get an exact, fix on what your body weight is. So pick a day, pick 2 days out of the week at the same time to weigh yourself. Now, as you're going through your week, the next week, weigh yourself again. If you weigh the same amount, congratulations, you've eaten at maintenance that week. If you've gained a quarter or half of a pound, or if you notice after 2 weeks you've gained a pound, all right, well, you are in a caloric surplus. You're eating more than your body is burning off, and vice versa if you're losing weight. So if your goal is to lose weight, to burn fat, you need to weigh yourself every week and eat an amount that will have you losing, a quarter of a pound. Over a month, you want to see a pound or 2 drop off the scale. That's great progress to be making. How your macronutrients fit into this is, once again, like we've just been talking, you can kind of choose. If you're eating, say, and you're like, I want to try this keto thing. So you're eating real low carb, and you're eating a lot of fats, and you're tracking it, and for whatever reason, you're getting hungry, and so you're overeating, and you're gaining a little bit of weight. Okay, well, let's try a different technique then. Let's reverse it. Let's have more carbohydrate and less fat. Like Chelsea was saying she likes to do. I personally like to eat that way myself. If you start noticing the weight falls off, then there you go. This is a tool that's helped you find that it's not just your willpower. It's not just that you're not good at this. It's just you weren't quite eating in the way that's best for your body.
And think about this. There's a system to it. This is a good thing. It's a numbers game. That means you can figure it out and you can play the system in your favor. Now we're talking general principles here, so we're not getting into like people who compete or anything like that. Then you have to really dial the science in.
Right.
But we're just talking as general rules. You want to gain weight, you eat a surplus, you want to make sure that you're only eating fuel enough to build the response that you want, so you're not overfilling the gas tank with both carbs and fats. It's like pouring gas into a car, but you never drive it, so it just overfills, but it stores that. So, make sure you're doing your stuff. If you're doing your stuff, guess what? You get to eat. Just type it out. That's why people use a scale, because each gram is worth a certain amount of calories, and it's an overall caloric game, over or under or maintenance. So, find out what you want to do and then just make it work for you.
And I think, real quick before we move on to the next question, I just want to reiterate, a lot of times I hear I can't track, or it's too hard, or I don't even know where to begin.
Barcode.
So I think that there's a couple different ways that you can do this, and a couple little tricks that have helped me along the way. When you first start tracking, when it's your first time ever, let the habit of tracking be the only thing you focus on. Don't try to change your food drastically because you feel like that's going to make a difference. And maybe it could be a little tough to see what you're eating on a daily basis, especially if you're not, eating your vegetables, if you're eating out a lot, if you're eating a lot of sweets and junk. There might be a little bit of a twinge that you get as you track this stuff. But listen, this is just one step on your road to progress. So make tracking a habit first, and then as you watch your body and see how it's reacting to what you're eating currently, make small changes one at a time.
Right.
Because if you think about it, if you're eating right now, let's say you eat out one meal a day and you have dessert at the end of every night. If you try to get rid of dessert, add more water, and go vegetarian, you're never going to know which one of those things was the thing that worked for you. Right. So make one change at a time, whether it be your protein intake or bringing the calories down, and find an app that works for you. MyFitnessPal is free. I personally it's $10 a month. I use Carb Diet Coach from Holly and Lane. It's incredible and it's very helpful. But there are tons of apps out there that you can just put your macronutrients in. I would fair warning, do not follow the recommendations that MyFitnessPal gives you for the calories you should be eating or the calories that you've burned. Right. Fitness trackers and food trackers cannot predict the amount of calories that you burn in a workout, period. I don't care what your Apple Watch told you. You did not burn 600 calories on that walk. You didn't do it.
That's why you track your weight every week. And then you can see what is changing and which direction it is going. And this is the slow game. You're playing for the long haul, you know. This is not 6 weeks abs. Okay, this is will a consistent effort pointed in a certain direction track a trail over the course of time.
And you're using these tracking apps as a tape measure. That is it.
Exactly.
These apps will tell you that you burned 1,000 plus calories because that makes you feel good and that'll make you use the app more. So I think that's a great thing to say. You can't look at that. You just have to track and using it as a tool to measure. And I will say, as far as people saying, "Oh, tracking is just too complicated. I don't want to do it." Goes. I do feel like I've had a lot of people in my life ask me fitness advice. So, Jacob, how do I get in shape? And that's always one of the first things I say is check out MyFitnessPal. And people are so often, I can't do that, And you have to realize, if you're in a position where you don't like the state of your body, you don't feel healthy, you don't feel like you're able to do the things that you should be able to do, that's because the thoughts that you have and the things that you think are incorrect. And that it's not a diss. I mean, I'm sure there's things in life that you're great at that you're not incorrect about. But when it comes to health and fitness, you're incorrect. So when someone says try tracking and you think, oh, that won't work for me, that's too much work, don't listen to yourself. Just try. One of the greatest pieces of advice you can have to change habits and to better yourself is to realize sometimes you have to listen to what someone else has said, even though it is counter to what your own brain says. Just try it. And I promise, after 3 or 4 weeks of doing it, you'll go, I can't believe I used to not even know how many calories I ate a day. I mean, we do that,
all the time.
There was a
crazy.
a time in my life where I didn't know how many calories I ate a day, and now it's I can't even imagine not knowing that.
And the cool thing is, once you pick up the habit and you keep it for a while, that stuff sticks with you.
Exactly.
So it's easier on days when you're like, I just don't know if I'll be able to track today. Maybe you're too busy. Maybe you're out of town. Maybe you don't know what's going on. It's easier to look at your plate and go, okay, well, when I'm at home and I'm tracking everything and I'm weighing things, I know that 4 ounces of chicken looks similar to this piece of chicken. And I know that a handful of veggies is equal to maybe about a cup of veggies. And then you're able to kind of formulate this plate where you're like, okay, I'm still gonna prioritize protein.
Right.
I'm gonna make sure I get my veggies in. It's something that sticks with you forever that you're able to utilize even whenever you stop tracking in the future.
Understanding the simple science behind macronutrients is what really helps change my relationship with food. You know, you hear that term, relationship with food. And most people's relationship with food is a complete just pleasure, instant gratification cycle.
Right.
I'm hungry, I eat. I'm bored, I eat. You know, whatever. I want to just taste something pleasurable and comfortable in my mouth to make me not think about the stresses of life. And that's how we eat. And that's not a good relationship with food. And I've had that relationship with food. You know, you don't have to be drastically over or underweight to have a very bad relationship with food. It's very possible. And I think in learning about macronutrients and, you know, over just learning about calories, you know, it made me, I'm able to look at food as a medicine, as a fuel system. You know, when I go to have a lunch after working out or whatever, and I go to eat, instead of just thinking, oh, what's going to taste good, you know, I'm thinking, okay, oh, here's my protein. This is going to help build back the muscle that I broke down from today's, you know, training today, even or just work, being at work, you know, that this protein is going to build that back. All right, here's my carbs. This is going to give me some quick energy to get through the rest of the day. And here's my small portion of fat to help regulate my hormones and do everything that my body needs, that fat does for your body. And being able to look at it like that, and you don't have to super science it out, just realizing that, it makes you see food in a different way. It's not just this pure thing to comfort you and to give you pleasure. I mean, it's a functional thing that makes the machine of your body operate more efficiently. And that's really what you want when you say you want to get into better shape. You want your body, you want the best things going into your body so that the output is the optimum that it can be.
Exactly. And I think that prioritizing macros over calories is important because the packaging of food is not correct.
True.
So if you actually do the math on some of the things that you're eating, the calories and the macros don't match up. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you're eating a granola bar and it says it has 2 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbs, and 8 grams of protein, 150 calories maybe. They can, by some magic, put on there that it's only 100 calories.
Well, it's the FDA, and it
it's
it's government
okay.
ran.
All right, here we go. I don't know how they get away with it, but they get away with it. So it's your maintenance range and these ranges of calories. It's not like your maintenance calories are 2,112.
Right.
It's a range depending on how much you move around the day, your training days, your rest days, like all that kind of stuff. It's a range of numbers, but being able to pinpoint macros versus trying to hit calories when so many of the packaging of products is off, it can be frustrating. So I just tend to okay, I'm gonna hit this amount of protein, this amount of carbs, and this amount of fat, and I don't really even have to worry about the calorie portion of it because I know that these macros are what my body responds to.
And also, you know, to tie it into the holidays, you know, a perfect example of why macros can be more important than calories. Let's say
Turkey.
Exactly. You need to eat your turkey. Say you're eating this holiday season, and you know what? Let's say you want to lose weight, and so you're trying to be reasonable about what you eat. Maybe you don't eat as much ham or turkey. You just have a roll or two and some dressing and a piece of pie, and that equates to 1,200 calories, and that's all you eat that entire day. And you go, well, I got these low calories, but that you didn't do a good job there. I mean, that's all carbohydrate and fat. And what we just talked about, when you're eating a bunch of those, and especially if you don't keep your training going through that holiday season, you're over-fueling your body. You know, whereas if you were to eat if you are trying to lose weight, like Chelsea was saying, increasing your protein can help you do that. So if you ate more turkey, more of the ham, less of the other things, you know, you could still eat that same 1,200 calories and do very different things in your body.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like Cody said, it's a numbers game.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game.
I don't mean to cut you off.
You're right.
there are a bunch of variables in this whole situation. Some of the variables are controllable and some of them are not, okay? So figure out what you want your goal to be and control the variables that you can control and set the course. And then everything else will fall into place.
And give yourself a little grace to create the habits that are necessary to be successful on this journey. You can track your food. You can weigh your food. You can
You can
prep
eat a
your
pizza.
food. You can make your lunch, pre-track it, and be set up for success for the whole day. You can set aside the time to do that. I promise you, you can, but you have to prioritize your health and you have to want this really bad.
Exactly.
You just gotta do it.
Exactly. What do we always say in these videos about that we want you to understand? We are not special. We are definitely not special. We
Not
are
at
not genetic athletic freaks in any way. We've heard this information from other people and we set it into practice and it has benefited us and we are trying
Absolutely.
to continue that on.
Yeah.
But there's our video on macronutrients. I really hope that this information helped get some of those crazy myths out of your head,
Right.
those crazy ideas about having to crash diet, yo-yo diet, detox tea. It's all nonsense. It's bullshit. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game that you have control over, that all you have to do is be consistent and you can find your way. Don't forget,
Get
Your shit
together.